In the campaign for supervisor of Thornton Township, Tiffany Henyard faces controversy after hiring LVL Redmond as a code enforcer. Redmond has a violent criminal history, including being a registered sex offender. His hiring is particularly problematic given his past, which Tiffany later claimed on Facebook she didn't know about. This claim came under scrutiny after a Fox 32 investigation exposed his criminal background. The investigation revealed that Redmond, now working a role that requires him to enter people's homes and businesses, poses a serious concern. In response, outraged village trustees are now taking steps to limit the mayor's hiring power. The situation has sparked outrage and raised questions about the vetting process for new employees in the township.
We have a constant pattern of her hiring people without doing a proper background check and presenting it to the board. And that's our issue. That could pose a great danger to our...
Redmond, who is closely associated with Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard, worked on her campaign and was later hired as a code enforcement officer for the village of Dolton. This position granted him access to both homes and businesses. However, controversy surrounds Redmond due to his criminal history. He is listed on the Illinois State Police Sex Offender Registry after serving 24 years of a 50-year sentence for his involvement in a brutal gang attack on two young girls in Roseland in 1991. The incident that sparked recent news coverage involved Redmond being physically attacked by Mr. Brown and another individual. The second person, not just a bystander, is believed to be a former associate of Redmond, possibly involved in illegal activities. Mayor Henyard defended her hiring decision, stating that the village takes residents' safety seriously and would never jeopardize it. She emphasized that Redmond's conviction occurred nearly 3 decades ago and that it paid his debt to society in response to backlash. Henyard initially claimed she was unaware of Redmond's criminal record when hiring him. However, she later changed her stance, stating that Dolton supports second chances and rehabilitation for individuals with past mistakes. The controversy has led to scrutiny over Henyard's decision-making, with critics suggesting her actions could be politically motivated or aimed at helping Redmond for past assistance. Additionally, Henyard's lawyer claimed that Mr. Brown was armed with a knife during the altercation, adding further complexity to the situation.
Attacking him with a deadly weapon, and the mayor, fearing for his safety, did go toward that crime, risking getting hurt herself. But he was at risk. This is her boyfriend. This is an important man in her life, her source of support, and he was being threatened with a deadly weapon.
There's a false narrative spreading that needs to be debunked, particularly concerning an altercation involving Joshua Brown and Mayor Tiffany Henyard. To be clear, Joshua Brown was not carrying a knife during the incident, as is being falsely reported. Instead, he was holding a microphone, which, in the heat of the moment, may have appeared questionable but is in no way a weapon. What is conveniently left out of the story is that, in addition to Brown holding a microphone, Mayor Henyard herself was also holding a microphone throughout the altercation. This is significant because a microphone, much like any other object, could potentially be used as a weapon. The hypocrisy in this situation is glaring, and it is dangerous when someone in a position of power like Henyard is spreading misinformation. It's crucial to highlight that it is never acceptable to lie about someone carrying a weapon, especially something as potentially dangerous as a knife, when they were not. Henyard's false claim takes things to a dangerous level, particularly when multiple camera angles are available to show the actual sequence of events. There's even video footage, likely ready to be aired by news outlets, that clearly shows Brown holding a microphone, not a knife. Despite this, Henyard continues to stand by her false narrative. It becomes even more absurd when we see the video evidence, which Henyard and her lawyer are unwilling to acknowledge or back up. Their refusal to support their own claims, especially when there's clear footage, is not just puzzling, but also dishonest. Henyard's actions are becoming increasingly questionable as she tries to reshape the story for her own narrative, especially as she campaigns for re-election. She is attempting to manipulate public perception by offering different points of view on the incident. But I doubt that anyone outside of her most loyal Facebook followers is buying into this false story. As the situation unravels, Henyard is positioning herself as a victim in interviews, hoping to sway public opinion. Yet, her portrayal of herself as an innocent party is at odds with the overwhelming evidence and the multiple camera angles capturing the truth to make matters worse. Henyard is now attempting to drag the Dolton trustees into the mess by suggesting that Jada Brown's actions are somehow linked to them. This only serves to further expose her desperation as she tries to redirect blame and create division. It's clear that Henyard will do anything to maintain her power, including spinning the situation into a circus of lies. For instance, she recently claimed that the trustees had attempted to kill her boyfriend, which is an utterly absurd and unfounded accusation. Henyard's response to the entire situation highlights how far she's willing to go in order to retain control. I, too, have experienced attacks and harassment from individuals who seem to have been hired by Trustee Tiana Bell, Trustee Jason House, Trustee Tommy Brown, and Trustee Brittany Norwood. These individuals have come into Dolton with the sole purpose of creating chaos, but it's clear that their motivation stems from a deep personal vendetta. The level of hate and animosity toward me and others in this town is shocking, with some even going so far as to hire people to create turmoil in Dolton. In contrast, Jason House, senior trustee in Dolton and a candidate for mayor, represents the best opportunity for the town to move forward and break free from decades of corruption. His candidacy offers a fresh start, a chance for meaningful change, and the possibility to finally address the deep-rooted issues that have plagued Dolton for years. Many residents are beginning to question the role of Mayor Henyard, especially as her tenure has been marked by irresponsible spending of taxpayer money and a worsening financial situation. Under her leadership, the town has seen no substantial improvements in addressing the core problems that residents face. Instead, Henyard's actions have only deepened Dolton's struggles. While some may point to mistakes made by previous mayors, it's important to recognize that the administration before Henyard made efforts to encourage business development in Dolton. The mayor at the time allowed businesses to open and thrive, which led to the growth of several new businesses in the town. Although his administration was not without flaws, the policy of fostering economic growth should not be overlooked or dismissed. In comparison, Henyard's leadership has lacked the vision and foresight needed to propel the town toward real progress. It's clear that if Dolton is to break free from its troubled past and overcome the corruption that has defined its history, Jason House is a candidate who can lead the way. With his experience, his commitment to the community, and his vision for a brighter future, House offers hope that Dolton can finally move beyond its mistakes and begin to rebuild a prosperous future for all its residents. Henyard's refusal to acknowledge the reality of the situation only further demonstrates that she is more concerned with maintaining power than with actually improving the lives of those she serves. It's time for a change in Dolton, and Jason House represents that change.
Happy and excited to welcome our second new business here in the village of Dolton in 2 days. We're here at 154th and Chicago Road at Everett's. The primary menu would be beef, Italian beef, and hot dogs and hamburgers. So we want the community to come out and support this new business here in the village of Dolton. We welcome you all, and on the count of 3, we're going to welcome our new business, Everett, right here at 154th and Chicago Road by cutting this ribbon. So if I can get everyone to join me to count to 3 so we can get this ribbon cut and have Everett start their business. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
If anyone has knowledge of businesses that Mayor Tiffany Henyard has helped open in Dolton, feel free to share in the comments. However, it's hard to ignore the fact that the much talked about ice skating rink, which Henyard frequently mentions, doesn't seem to be a viable source of revenue for the town. From what I've heard from locals, Henyard only opens the rink for special events, and it doesn't generate enough money to sustain itself. The $1 million ice rink has become a financial burden on the village because it remains largely closed to the public and is only operational when hosting a function. Let's be honest. In a village the size of Dolton, an ice skating rink isn't the most practical or profitable investment. It certainly doesn't solve the town's financial struggles. The same can be said for the recently renovated basketball courts. While the courts themselves are a positive addition for the community, providing children with a place to play, they don't bring in significant revenue for the village. In fact, the maintenance costs associated with keeping the courts in good condition end up costing the community more money. Last year, after the renovation, the courts were open for use, which was a good step forward for local youth. But again, it doesn't solve the bigger issue of Dolton's financial burden when we talk about the spending of taxpayer money. It's also impossible to overlook Henyard's decision to spend over $50,000 on a sign for a police facility that used to be the Melanie Fitness Center. The location has been a financial drain on Dolton for years, and Henyard has prevented its sale, which has only made the town's financial woes worse. If anyone has seen any new businesses open in Dolton recently, feel free to let us know in the comments. Based on what I've observed, it seems that Henyard may be preventing businesses from obtaining liquor licenses, which has become a major issue. One of the most talked about recent incidents involves her ongoing legal dispute with the owners of Street Patrick's, a restaurant and banquet hall that Henyard initially supported. As the liquor commissioner for Dolton, Henyard has been blocking Street Patrick's from obtaining its liquor license. The situation has escalated to the point where the owners have taken legal action against Henyard for obstructing the process. According to the owner's attorneys, Henyard's refusal to sign the liquor licenses seems to be personal, even though issuing those licenses is part of her official duties. In Cook County Court, a judge found Henyard in contempt of court for failing to issue the licenses and ordered her to sign them. This ruling came after months of delays, but ultimately allowed Street Patrick's, a 3-story restaurant and banquet hall, to move forward with its opening. This ongoing legal battle highlights a larger problem in Dolton: Henyard's apparent inability or unwillingness to support small businesses. Despite her position as both mayor and liquor commissioner, her actions seem to be actively stifling economic growth rather than encouraging it. Businesses in Dolton need support, but Henyard's refusal to issue liquor licenses has put up unnecessary roadblocks. The prolonged legal battle over Street Patrick's liquor license should never have been this difficult. The owners followed all the proper steps, had the approval of the village board, and yet Henyard's refusal to sign the necessary documents created a major roadblock. The situation was made worse when Henyard arrived 30 minutes late to a hearing in court, underscoring her lack of urgency in resolving the matter. It's clear that Henyard's actions, or lack thereof, have only delayed and complicated what should have been a straightforward process. This case underscores a more significant issue with Henyard's leadership: her inability or unwillingness to support the business community in Dolton. As mayor, she should be fostering an environment where businesses can thrive and contribute to the local economy. Instead, she seems to be more focused on creating barriers. And this is not the kind of leadership that Dolton needs. Instead of investing in projects that can help the town thrive, Henyard is focused on initiatives that don't generate the revenue or job opportunities needed to lift the community out of its financial struggles. The ice rink, the basketball courts, and the Street Patrick situation all highlight the deeper issues with Henyard's leadership. Dolton needs a mayor who understands the importance of supporting local businesses, creating job opportunities, and ensuring that taxpayer money is spent wisely. Unfortunately, Henyard's track record has shown that she is not prioritizing these crucial issues under Henyard's administration. Dolton has seen little improvement. The town continues to face financial challenges, and Henyard's actions have consistently failed to address the root causes of these struggles. Rather than creating a business-friendly environment that could attract investment and foster growth, Henyard's decisions have made it more difficult for businesses to succeed. If Dolton is to move forward and overcome its troubled past, the town needs new leadership. Dolton needs a mayor who will work to promote economic development, foster small businesses, and make decisions that benefit the community as a whole. Based on Henyard's actions, it's clear that she is not the right person to guide the town toward a prosperous future. The people of Dolton deserve better than leadership that hampers progress, makes misguided investments, and fails to create opportunities for growth. It's time for a change. The community needs to demand more from its leaders and hold them accountable for the decisions they make. Henyard's actions, or lack of actions, have shown that she is not capable of leading the town toward the brighter future that Dolton so desperately needs.
On the basketball court, so please go there if you want to ice skate this season. It is open and it's free. The gate is always open, so just go there and bring your ice skates and have fun. It is open and it's free. The gate is always open. It is open and it's free.
The owners of Street Patrick's invested a significant amount of money into their business, only for Mayor Tiffany Henyard to stonewall them by delaying their liquor licenses. Henyard appeared supportive of the process until the last minute, when she ultimately granted only 2 out of the 3 required licenses. Rumors suggest that the reason behind her refusal was personal, specifically that the owner stopped contributing to her causes or campaign. This has led to suspicions that Henyard's actions were motivated by personal grievances, causing her to withhold the full liquor license, which has severely hindered the business's ability to open fully. Unfortunately, Street Patrick's is not the only business to face these issues. Many business owners have come forward, complaining that Henyard has used her position to block permits and licenses due to personal conflicts with the owners or people they are connected to. This pattern of behavior raises serious concerns about Henyard's ability to fairly and equitably serve Dolton's business community. Her actions have resulted in unnecessary delays and obstacles for businesses trying to contribute to the town's economy, leaving many questioning her leadership, with reports of these issues continuing to surface. It's clear that Henyard's decisions may not be motivated by the best interests of Dolton's residents or local businesses, but rather by personal motives. This type of leadership harms the town's potential for growth and development, and it raises doubts about Henyard's ability to guide Dolton into a prosperous future.
This morning in a case over liquor licenses.
Well, the attorney for the owners of this restaurant here behind us say they believe Henyard didn't sign those liquor licenses for personal reasons, even though it was her job to do it.
This is Tiff, right here. Tiffany Henyard, say Tiffany, that's my name. You know, it's Tiff. St. Patrick right here, and it's called St. Patrick, just like Howard. But not with all the other mess, but just like Howard.
Frustration and relief for a small business owner. It's about time. Tiffany Kamara left the Cook County courtroom with the liquor licenses she needs to open St. Patrick's, a family-owned restaurant and banquet hall in Lincoln Avenue in Dolton.
This should have been over, like you said, in November. Their months-long fight came to a head this morning when a judge found Henyard in contempt.
So we're going to take you through, it's going to be a see-through glass, top-tier building right here, and you can come and rent it.
Kamara took legal action after she says she wasn't able to obtain licenses from Mayor Tiffany Henyard, who also serves as liquor commissioner.
Kamar, a local business owner, took legal action after repeatedly being unable to obtain the necessary liquor licenses from Mayor Tiffany Henyard, who also serves as the village's liquor commissioner. Attending board meetings to inquire about important issues, like liquor licenses and park district permits, has become a common occurrence for business owners in Dolton. One particular business owner's struggle, however, stands out and highlights a concerning pattern in Henyard's leadership. This business owner, whose operations were relying on receiving the appropriate liquor license, was consistently dismissed by Henyard. Instead of addressing their concerns directly, Henyard repeatedly referred them to her lawyer. Delgado Group, the Delgado Group, is supposed to represent Dolton and the surrounding township in various legal matters, but it's becoming increasingly clear that their loyalty lies more with Henyard than with the residents or businesses they are meant to serve. In this situation, Delgado Group has consistently blocked business owners from obtaining the permits and licenses they need, even when all the required paperwork has been submitted. This has left many business owners frustrated and struggling to move forward. Unfortunately, this isn't an isolated incident. Other business owners have come forward with similar complaints, highlighting a pattern of behavior where Henyard's office creates unnecessary barriers to success. The significance of these actions cannot be overstated. The way Henyard operates, particularly in regard to the liquor license process and other important permits, reveals a deeper problem with her leadership style. Her refusal to engage directly with business owners or provide them with the necessary licenses is a troubling indication of how she manages her office. This is especially concerning considering the image she presents on social media. Henyard frequently portrays herself as an innocent, hard-working single mother who is simply being targeted by those who want to discredit her. She positions herself as a victim, deflecting criticisms and positioning herself as a strong, independent figure facing unfair opposition. However, this social media persona contrasts sharply with the reality witnessed by many residents and business owners. Those who have attended board meetings or interacted with Henyard in person have reported a different story. When challenged or questioned about issues that matter to the community, Henyard has been known to verbally abuse others, dismissing their concerns with hostility. These instances are not isolated. They are part of a broader pattern of Henyard's approach to leadership, one that stifles communication and discourages open, respectful dialogue in any leadership role. Transparency and accountability are key. Yet, Henyard's actions suggest that transparency is not a priority. Rather than working with the community and local businesses to build a thriving environment in Dolton, Henyard appears to be more focused on maintaining control and disregarding the needs of those directly impacted by her decisions. Her dismissive attitude toward business owners seeking permits, her use of her lawyer to avoid direct engagement, and her creation of obstacles that prevent progress are all symptoms of a leadership style that prioritizes personal interests over the well-being of the community. What's even more troubling is the contrast between Henyard's public persona and her actual behavior. While she positions herself as someone fighting for the community, standing strong against unfair criticism, her actions tell a different story. The gap between her social media image and her behavior in public meetings raises serious questions about her true commitment to the town's growth. The constant dismissal of legitimate concerns, coupled with her refusal to grant permits and licenses, not only harms individual businesses, but also negatively impacts the larger community. By limiting economic development and job opportunities, Henyard's leadership fails to create the conditions necessary for Dolton to thrive the way Henyard operates, particularly in her dealings with businesses. paints a troubling picture of a leader who seems more interested in consolidating power and maintaining control than fostering collaboration and progress. If Dolton is to move forward, it is crucial for people to understand how Henyard's actions are hindering the town's potential for growth. The community deserves leadership that is transparent, accountable, and responsive to the needs of its residents. Unfortunately, Henyard has consistently failed to demonstrate these qualities. The reality of Henyard's leadership is one of exclusion and obstruction. Her refusal to engage directly with business owners, her reliance on her lawyer to handle important matters, and her continued blocking of permits and licenses all point to a leader who is disconnected from the needs of her community. These actions reveal a leader more focused on personal gain and control than on building a thriving, prosperous town. For the people of Dolton, residents of Dolton need to take a closer look at the real story behind Henyard's public image. The facts speak for themselves. Her actions in board meetings, her dismissive treatment of business owners, and her reliance on her lawyer to manage important issues all highlight a leadership style that is detached from concerns of the people she's supposed to serve. If Dolton is to overcome its struggles and build a brighter future, it will need leaders who are genuinely invested in the town's success, not those who use their positions for personal control and political advantage. The community deserves better, and it's time to hold Henyard accountable for her decisions.
And the documents that were signed today had another entity on there. And
That was the holdup on you.
that was the holdup. That was the only thing.
Kamara says she's lost time and money. She says she wants Henyard to pay.
We want her to be fined. We want her to pay my client's attorney's fees. And we want damages.
We are wasting money every day. This building, nice building that people could have used and jobs.
The judge asked the mayor, will you sign these licenses? And instead of signing them or answering the judge directly, she, began talking in circles. And so that's when the judge made one determination of what's called indirect criminal contempt.
Meaning the judge found her disrespectful of the court's authority.
So, with all the mess that be going on, they never tell you about the great things that we actually provide in our village, which is economic development.
Henyard signed 2 of the 3 licenses under threat of another finding of contempt.
It's serious. It's not something that anybody should want to happen, let alone a public official.
So bringing things like this to our community where our residents will benefit from it by tax dollars going on tax rolls. Check that.
It's up to the judge to determine what punishment Henyard could face. The restaurant owners are still pursuing that 3rd liquor license. They're also pursuing sanctions and damages. We've reached out to Henyard's attorney for comment on this contempt finding and have not.
The frustration surrounding Mayor Tiffany Henyard's leadership in Dolton is palpable, and rightfully so. People are becoming increasingly upset because, quite frankly, Henyard repeatedly falls short of the expectations placed upon her. She claims to be a strong, capable leader, yet her actions continually reflect the opposite. Time and again, her behavior suggests that she is unfit to hold the position she occupies, as she consistently falls into the same patterns of behavior that she once criticized in others. Let's begin with one of the most glaring issues: her repeated failure to provide essential financial data to trustees. She has refused to produce receipts and other important documents that would allow for transparency and accountability in the village's financial dealings. This lack of transparency has created a disastrous environment in which the people in charge of managing the village's budget are kept in the dark, hindering their ability to make informed decisions. Henyard's continual stonewalling of these requests only further fuels the perception that she is not operating with the best interests of Dolton in mind. It's no wonder that so many videos have been made calling attention to her hypocrisy. I could go on listing the many ways Henyard has failed to meet the standards she once held others to, but I won't repeat myself endlessly. If you've seen the previous videos, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Time and time again, she has shown herself to be someone who is unworthy of the trust placed in her position. When Henyard was a trustee, she held the mayor's office to a much higher standard, demanding accountability and responsibility from those in power. However, once she gained power herself, all the values and principles she once championed seemed to evaporate the moment she sat in the mayor's chair. The laws, rules, and regulations she once stood by have been cast aside without a second thought, and the hypocrisy of it all is striking. What makes the situation even worse is the fact that Henyard seems to believe that because she is a black woman, a single mother, and a female mayor, people should excuse her behavior. She has used her personal circumstances as a shield, hoping the public will overlook her failures because of her identity. But that's not how leadership works. Just because previous mayors have been corrupt doesn't mean Henyard should get a free pass. She tries to manipulate the public's perception of her by leaning heavily on her personal story, diverting attention from the real issues at hand. The reality is that she has not lived up to the expectations of the office she holds, and simply pointing to past corruption as an excuse does not absolve her of her own actions. Instead of focusing on the work and making real, tangible changes for the betterment of Dolton, Henyard seems more interested in keeping her position intact and securing attention for herself. She has put herself in the spotlight, claiming to be a victim of unfair criticism. But it's clear that the focus should be on her lack of effective leadership. People are tired of the excuses and the constant deflection, shifting of blame and sidestepping of important issues. If Henyard wants to be seen as a competent leader, she needs to stop hiding behind her identity and start taking responsibility for her actions. Her actions, or lack thereof, have proven that she is not leading Dolton in the way it needs. Instead of inspiring trust, she has only undermined. To be clear, the issue here is not about her gender, race, or personal circumstances, but about her ability to fulfill the duties of her office. She seems to think that because of her background, she is entitled to special treatment. But that is not how leadership works. Leadership is about being held to the same standards as everyone else, regardless of race, gender, or life situation. Henyard has positioned herself in such a way that she hopes people will feel sympathy for her personal narrative and overlook her failures. But the reality is that her behavior is disqualifying, and she cannot hide behind her personal story forever. The facts speak for themselves. The community deserves a leader who upholds the law, values transparency, and operates with integrity. Instead, Dolton is stuck with someone who not only fails to meet these basic expectations, but actively works against them. Henyard's actions have only reinforced the growing perception that she is more interested in personal gain and maintaining control than in the well-being of the town or its residents. If Henyard wants to be taken seriously as a leader, she needs to focus less on creating a sympathetic narrative about herself and more on the work that needs to be done. It's time to stop playing victim and start addressing the real issues facing Dolton. As it stands, her leadership has not been beneficial to the town, and it's clear she has a long way to go if she hopes to regain the trust of the community. To the residents of Dolton, if you agree with the points raised here, I encourage you to like the video and share it. If you're new to the conversation, don't forget to subscribe for more insights into the ongoing issues in Dolton under Henyard's leadership. The truth needs to be out there, and it's time to hold her accountable for her actions. It's time to stop excusing poor leadership based on identity and start demanding better for Dolton's future. The people of this town deserve a leader who is willing to work for them, not just for herself. Henyard's record speaks for itself, and it's clear that the residents of Dolton need a leader who can lead with integrity, transparency, and respect for the very people they serve. It's time for change.